What is up, everybody? Dan the Fireman here. We are back at it again with another After the Ride podcast. We're going to be talking about 5 principles of a good motorcycle rider. And to me, this is different than possibly some other people's 5 principles or even just a principle of a good rider. For me, I don't like to see people injured. I don't want people to die. I am sick and tired of it. I think there's been 15 motorcycle riders that have died this year alone in Tucson. I think it's been in the past like 4 months. 10 of those have been killed while riding, and I hate seeing that. So that is where I come from. You know, my principle is based off of serving. So like my own human principle and who I am as a person. I'm here to serve. I'm here to do my absolute best to make other people's lives better. So that's how I live. And when it comes to motorcycle riding, my principle of riding is basically these things right here. And so this is what I'm following. So if you want to follow me and you want to be or have a mindset of how I ride, let's go ahead and jump into it. How about that? Let's just do that. So the first principle, and like I said, there's 5, is that you're going to ride smart, okay? So good. I'm going to read a little bit. I wrote some notes so I can stay on topic. So good riders train for the threat, but ride smart enough to rarely need their superior training. Even the most skilled riders will get into situations they can't handle if they ride stupid. And that goes along with a lot of the stuff I talk about on the Dan and the Fireman channel and how I train people, is that I want you to have the fundamental skills of swerving, braking, or emergency braking for those evasive maneuvers, but the fundamental skills of knowing how to shift smoothly or as smooth as you possibly can, understanding smooth throttle control, smooth braking for progressive brake pressure, even when slowing down to a stop, smooth turning, all those different things, head movement, all that. All that is fundamental basic skills. And then right here where it says if good riders train for the threat but ride smart enough to rarely need their superior training. So you don't need to have the trail braking or the massive, body positioning or the speed shifting, all these different things that are more of a superior training, advanced skills. If you ride smart and you train for the threat, okay, that's the thing, guys. The threat is what's killing us. Like the cars, the cornering is what's killing motorcycle riders. So we need to train for that threat. So when we're training these massive advanced skills, what are we training for? Like, what's the threat? What's the end goal? Are we trying to get faster on a track? Are we trying to beat other riders, other drivers? What's the end goal here? So my thing is I'm training for the threat itself. I'm training for those cars, those potholes, that gravel, all that thing. That's what I'm training for. So let's focus on the fundamental skills. And if you are riding smart, if you're focused on the threats, you'll see them. If you're focused on riding fast, you're not going to see the real things that are going to kill you. You're going to be focusing on going fast. So number 2, though, understanding the risks. Now, this is part of that. So I'm going to read it once again. Many riders jump on their bikes without thinking much about the true risk they are taking. That's huge, guys. Most people ride for fun and would rather not think about the possibility of injury. Good riders understand that if they get seriously hurt, it's their family and friends that will also pay. So I talked about if I go back and I talk about that one video that I made, that one podcast episode I made where I talk about, we're not doing enough, coaches aren't doing enough, and then at the end of that video or podcast, I talked about how if we crash, get injured, die, all that stuff, it's our family members that are the ones suffering. And that's very true. That's very true. And here I talk about many riders jump on their bikes without thinking much about the true risk they are taking. That is big. I think a lot of manufacturers, I'm going to say dealerships, well, not necessarily dealerships. I'm just going to throw out Honda, Harley, Indian even, just everyone. It's like they want to sell bikes. And so what they put out there and commercialize is, look how much fun this is. We're riding crazy. We're doing this. Man, you should watch that Harley Davidson, what is it? The Street 500, Street 750 street rod commercial. It is ridiculous. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just look up their promotional video. It's this rider that's riding like a crazy man. Super not safe, but that's what they're promoting. And I think that's kind of what people are starting to think. It's like, oh, I could do all these cool, fun things. But at the end of the day, we're getting on a vehicle that is to travel on the roads, that has a greater chance, 28 times greater chance of fatality, injuries, all those different things than a car. So at the end of the day, why don't we just buy a car? That's what I think a lot of riders that are out there on the road, they should just be driving cars. To be quite honest, I think there should be less riders. Some of the riders that I see out on the road should not be riding. They should just be driving, just based off of the risk and skill offset that they have. And that's something you'll learn in the BRC2, risk skill offset. And it's just tough. It's just tough for me to see, but they made that choice. So my job is servitude. So I want to give them the best and most accurate skills as best as possible so that they can stay alive. Cause I didn't make that choice for them. They did. And right here it says most people ride for fun and would rather not think about the possibility of injury. That is true. A lot of people don't want to think about the crashes or the injuries and the lifelong issues that they might have, or just no lifelong issues because they're dead. A lot of people don't want to think about that, but that's on the forefront of my mind. And if it's on the forefront of your mind, if you understand the risk with like number 2, the title number 2, if you understand that and it's on the forefront of your mind, you're going to make the best decisions and best decisions possible when it comes to making sure you're being safe. And I did a survey. We have 275 responses, which is great. I put, what is your main priority when riding a motorcycle? And 44.4% is to leisure ride. So like weekend riding, fair weather riding, all those things. And then about 46.9% is commuting, so riding to work. So for those probably riding to work and then having fun on the weekends, like it's a purpose. It's a purpose-driven thing. They choose to do that because they enjoy to do it and they want to do it. It's not necessarily. I think purpose or performance riding was like a very small percentage, and a few other things. It mainly is commuting and leisure riding. So with that said, why are we going out commuting and leisure riding and just accepting these risks? So we need to have those, we need to understand them. So, because number 3 is, it says that you accept the risk. There you go. So number 3, the third principle is you accept the risk. So even with an accurate perception of risk, you will choose to ride. So cool. We don't ride to be safe after all, but don't let the thrill of adrenaline get the better of you. Good riders know when and where to pick it up. I highly recommend a racetrack for sportier riders. So when we go back to that, you need to have an accurate perception of the risk. So when you put on gear, and gear is number 4 actually. So when you put on gear, don't be like, okay, now I have this full gear. I have gloves, helmet, jacket, boots, pants, all this crazy gear. Boom, I am perfectly safe. Guys, people die in car accidents all the time. They really do. We just have a greater chance per mile driven on the roads to die, 28 times per mile driven. But people in cars die all the time, even with seatbelts, even with airbags, even with crumple zones, even with roll cages, even with all these different things. It's the sudden deceleration of your body that kills you. People think that, well, it's just mainly like an impact. A lot of people think of like getting hurt is like getting a punch in the arm. That's like, it hurts because the physical impact, the bruising, the damage to the tissues because of the fist hit it. It really isn't that. What's the biggest problem is the sudden deceleration of your body. The sudden deceleration, so your body still moves, but your internal organs are continuing to move, and it's just going to shear. So your organs are going to shear, the connective tissue, your nerve endings, your spinal column, your brain is going to do a coup contre coup, and what that means is that your brain's it's French. It's gonna the coup part is your brain is going to slide and hit the front of your skull or wherever the impact is, and then it's going to slam back to the other side. And that is going to be a brain contusion, but that's what's happening to your other organs, your lungs, your heart, your kidney, your liver, your spleen, your stomach, all those different organs. And that's what's going to hurt you. So even if you're wearing full gear, even if you're in a car with full protective equipment, if you're riding way too fast, if you're driving way too fast and you hit an immovable object or an object that's going to slow you down and decelerate you, you're going to die. You're going to get severely injured. So you need to accept the risks. And just because you wear gear doesn't mean it's going to solve all your problems. And as much as, I'm trying not to scare you guys all the time, but at the same time, I want you to be scared enough so that you understand the risks and you accept them. And then now you're going to ride within those risks and your skills within your limits. Does that make sense? Okay. So number 4, you're going to wear protection. So this is a principle because you are trying to be safe. You don't leave the house unless what? You lock your doors. You don't leave the house. If you have an alarm system, you set the alarm system. Ones if you like set something up to where your dog, they have a doggy door so they can get in and out, or, you put them outside so they can go to the bathroom. You accept the risk. You wear protection. You protect your house so it doesn't have dog doo-doo everywhere. You do these things. You put on your seatbelt. You have it. You make sure you got airbags, all these different things. So we wear protection. So before you get on the bike, put the protection on. That's when you should start your whole OODA loop. And I talk about that, orient, observe, decide, and predict, all these different things. And I talked about situational awareness. Well, start your situational awareness by putting on the gear. So this alone does not mean you're a good rider, though. But it does indicate that you respect the risks and strive to minimize serious skin abrasions, broken bones, or head injuries. Just don't be fooled into thinking that you can ride riskier because you are better protected. Now, that kind of goes back to what we talked about with the accepting of the risks, where just because you have gear doesn't mean it's going to keep you 100% protected. But at the same time, just because you wear gear doesn't mean you can go out and go ride like an idiot and be like, well, I'm protected. It'll be fine if I mess up. That's not what you should be doing. So gear is just going to be there as a safety net for those trapeze artists. And that should be it. It's like, if you do crash, hopefully you never do, but if you do, it's an insurance policy to hopefully minimize severe injuries to make them minor injuries. It's not going to protect severe injuries and prevent you from ever getting hurt. It's just going to hopefully minimize severe life-threatening, life-altering injuries into minor, possibly year-long altering injuries. Does that make sense? So a broken hip and a few other things will be life-altering, but if you're wearing full gear or you ride safer, maybe you only break your tib fib and then it'll just be like a 6 months to a year type of injury. Okay. And then also on here is that you have fun while also being safe. And that's a principle. It's not an ideology. It's literally, you are principally based into, I'm going to have fun because I'm also being safe. It's not like, well, I can't have fun because I'm being safe, or I can only have fun if I'm not safe. It's, you're going to have fun. Like, I'm going to have fun if I'm being safe. And that really goes into the whole situational awareness thing, where I actually enjoy it. I have fun being able to see the hazards ahead of time and then being able to move out of the way or do what I need to do with the tools that I have. And it's fun. It's a video game, guys. I just got a VR headset for Christmas. For the family. I play more. But it's the Oculus Quest or whatever, and we play like these fun games, and it's like you literally are dodging things. You're having to utilize different skills, and it kind of brings it a little bit back to me. It's like, man, it's like that's kind of what I'm doing on a bike. Like, I'm literally VR headset riding a motorcycle, finding hazards that want to come out and kill me, and I'm dodging them. I'm doing what I need to do, and it's fun. But with the VR, with the gaming stuff, I mean, if you die, you come back. Out on the street, if you die, you're done. If you're in a crash, you're done. Those types of things. So you really have to be safe and then fun. See, on the VR and all the video game stuff, you could just have fun and don't worry about being safe. You can't do that in real life. So if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. Okay. So yes, getting training and wearing protective gear is inconvenient. It really is. I mean, you got to set aside a weekend. You got to go out and spend money. But it's time and money well spent. Okay, so the satisfaction of riding well with high confidence increases enjoyment. And that's a big thing. If you're out riding and you are just not confident with your skills, or you're out riding and you're like, let's say you're in the middle of town and all of a sudden there's just a bunch of traffic. It's starting to rain. It's now nighttime. While it's raining, a lot of traffic. So you got like glare from lights and all that stuff. That's going to create anxiety, even for me as a skilled rider. That's going to create anxiety. And when I have anxiety when I'm riding, I'm not having fun. So if for myself, I'm going to use that example. If I get better and better and better and better at riding at night with traffic and with training, my confidence is going to increase and I'm going to enjoy it more. At the end of the day, though, I'd probably pull over or try to find a place that's not as crowded. But when I have more confidence, like let's use another example, riding up Mount Lemmon. The first time was scary as heck. Scary. Now it's like I can ride with no hands going up and down it if I wanted to. And that's based off of confidence, based off of skill. My skill went up. I'm having fun and being safe about it. I'm dancing with the bike. And now it's just easy in my confidence and I'm enjoying it more. So the more you ride in a safe manner, focusing on that situational awareness, making sure that you're doing what you need to do, confidence is going to go up. And if your confidence go up, your enjoyment's going to go up. So you're having fun while being situationally aware with your skills, because you're confident in your skills, because you've practiced your skills, you've gotten the training, you've gotten the gear. So everything combined is going to increase your skill, increase your confidence, increase your enjoyment, increase your safety. And if you follow these 5 principles, and I'll read them once again, guys, is that, you ride smart, you understand the risks, you accept those risks. It's not necessarily just about understanding it, but you have to accept them by doing the right training and the right gear, wearing protection. So always wearing protection and realizing it's not, the protection is not to make you ride riskier, but it's just a safety net just in case something happens. And then you also have fun while being safe. And so these 5 principles will make you a better rider, make you a good motorcycle rider, a safe motorcycle rider, any other adjective before motorcycle rider that is in a positive way. These 5 principles will definitely help you out. I hope you guys like this type of stuff in this podcast. It really does. It's a lot of fun. It's more of like an opinion piece, and I'm having a ton of fun just talking to you like I am just, sitting here in front of you with the camera. It's why I try to look at the camera while I'm talking, and I just enjoy it. I'm having a ton of fun. With that said, I hope you guys ride safe, be safe, and I'll be seeing you later for another After the Ride podcast episode.